Hey, welcome to Gas Under Pressure. So, got a little 500 stove here. It's really been 500A. It's really been in much better shape than it has been. I've found that my back porch is horrible for stuff like this. This one actually has I believe this one's got a fount that's got a hole in it. We'll diagnose that as we go along. This one might take a while to go through, but we're going to do all sorts of interesting stuff. This is a January 56 stove. It doesn't hold pressure, so I need to find out where that hole is. And I think we've actually dunked this one before on the channel, but I actually have a new old stock fount for this, so that's going to be part of the fun. This is going to be a big kind of restoration thing, so this may take a couple of videos to accomplish. We're going to take this off. We're going to clean it up. We're going to plate it. Same thing with this. We'll see if we can't straighten out some of this stuff that isn't exactly as straight as it used to be. I don't know if if we got some broken welds here or not. If so, we might tack them down a little bit. Yeah, this one looks like it's broken here, so that might see if we can fix that. But anyway, that is the deal. So, and also, Gas Under Pressure continues to go even more bougie than we were before with the granite countertop here. A while back, someone said, "Hey, you're sitting there sweating it out. Why don't you put a mini split in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, okay." So, yeah, we did. We put a mini split in here, and it works really nice. So we can see right now that the shop is a comfortable 77 degrees. It's 54% humidity, and it's the middle of August. So that's pretty good, huh? Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and work on this. The other thing that we've got, we'll swing around in the gimbal chair here, is this big old beastie. So we've got a cyclonic dust extractor. We've got a blast cabinet, which I've done some significant modifications to. So it's filled with glass bead, and that's going to be used to clean up a lot of this rust that we see. So back to this. Oh yeah, and also this is going to be a head cam thing. The whole thing's going to be head cam. And I know there's some people out there that don't like that. They said, "Oh my God, I tried watching this and I couldn't watch it because it just made me dizzy, and I had to go turn it off." Well, I can live with that. So anyway, so we're going to start by getting this top off here and seeing what we can do. We're going to need to get at these. I keep picking the exact wrong wrench here, and maybe it's just that I don't have the right wrench. All right, so this means we gotta do the trick with this and loosen these up, which is not really what I care to do, because it's like using a cudgel to do delicate work here. Well, not that this is super delicate, but still, it doesn't really need such a large wrench. But yeah, so we'll kind of get into the plating of this. I was going to paint it. I realized that galvanized probably will not stand up to. I'm going to go ahead and get this little magnetic parts tray. Galvanized will probably not stand up real well to the heat, but it will stand up sort of, kind of. And with that, we'll make it look better than it does right now. So the other thing too here is that this video here is going to be probably pretty jump cutty, because a lot of this stuff takes a fair bit of time. You don't need to sit here and watch me sit and sandblast this whole thing for 20 minutes or however long it takes, because after you've seen a few moments of that, you're like, right, okay, we get it, now what? Show us the finished product. So yeah, we'll be kind of jumping around here a little bit, and that will be how this goes. So almost getting this completely off here. Yeah, the blast cabinet I acquired and made the gravity feed modification with a metering valve and additional lighting inside. I've got a manometer in there, or it's a manometer, but it tells me how many inches of water column that I've got. Yeah, there's so much of this stuff here. Like I tried to get this screw out of here, and I wasn't able to do it. And we're going to go ahead and try to do that because it would be nice to get all this cleaned out. This will probably take some high temperature paint and then look nice again. So, but I'll have to source the high temperature paint, of course. So we'll have to do that. But meanwhile, we'll get all this other kind of stuff out of here and off of here, and get things loose so we can get to all the parts that we need to throw into the blast cabinet. I will say, having a blast cabinet is something I've wanted for years, and having one of those is extremely cool. Glass bead is very gentle on. These always swedge in there pretty good and don't want to let go. Anyway, having glass bead is very gentle on what you're working on, and generally doesn't remove much in the way of material. Boy, that's in there. Oh, geez, there we go. We didn't want to bend it that much, but we did. Right, so that's that part out. Next, we'll get these big screws off of here. So yeah, glass bead is gentle on what you're blasting, and from there you won't really be removing the metal as much as just kind of removing anything that's loose. And so it's a great way to clean stuff up without destroying it. And it's fast, so that part is pretty cool. And you can even blast the screws pretty easy and bring those back to how they look and everything else. I really wish I could remember where I identified the hole in this thing before, because I can't. Be careful here. See if we kind of maneuver this all the way around. If I remember, there was a dent, and right in the middle of the dent was the hole. And I thought I marked it, but for whatever reason, I can't seem to find the blasted dent anymore. And anyway, well, we'll find it. It may be one of these right here, not sure, but it was in a weird place, like right along here. And I know this is the one because it doesn't hold pressure anymore. So okay, so there's that. Anyway, but yeah, we'll take this thing here, we'll clean it up, and we'll throw it in the plating bath, and then bring it back to normal. This here we'll have to remove this. Shouldn't be too bad, mainly because I've been through this before, at least I thought I had. We might have to vice this up to get it loose. Because I don't want to strip out the screws. They're trying. Need a bigger screwdriver. Something like this. Oops. There she goes. Kind of gummy feeling, which is odd, but it's all right. As long as it's loose, I'm happy. Okay, that came out. It's not too much trouble. Give this a couple of whacks. That usually will help loosen some corrosion. This just feels, oh geez, yeah, that's what I was trying to avoid. Just turning out the dang screw. Oof, that's not good, huh? Yep, here on Gas Under Pressure, we show everything, even the screw-ups. So, hopefully we are not going to end up in a situation where we have to drill something here, but let's see if we can't get this in a little better spot for me to set it down. Now, I really don't want to clamp down on this casting at all. It's just kind of really, just kind of finger tight to keep it from moving right about there, and just give me a spot to push down on. and maybe give it a few hits here to hopefully loosen it up. And then maybe some of the magical liquid wrench underneath here. See if that doesn't help matters a little bit. Make sure we're down in the groove. Boy. Nope, it's just seeming to want to not let go. Well, this is when we turn to some heat. And I'm going to use this because ain't nobody got time to waste. Perfect. This older thing was cheap, but it's also not very well controlled for orientation, so maybe I need to kind of turn it more this way so I don't have to bother it. But yeah, the heat here should help loosen up the corrosion and whatnot. And yeah, it'll kind of wreck the plating a little bit, but not too worried about that because we're going to replate it. And we want to get this thing really hot. And what we're actually doing, you can see how the color has changed from black back to gray. And what we're doing is that we're actually converting rust back into iron. When steel rusts, when iron rusts, it gathers oxygen and it actually expands. That's why you see rust pop off. And that's why it makes these things hard to get out, because the expansion of the rust there locks everything down. If you get it hot enough, you can get that rust to convert back and it'll shrink as a result. And also the thermal expansion contraction of the screw here can also break any kind of bonds on that. I gotta be careful, I was kind of getting the metal kind of red there. Whoop. Yeah, this is the one thing that this thing really wants to do. So let's see if I can do this without burning the crap out of myself. And you know, sometimes with these two, it's not entirely a bad idea to try tightening first to break it, and then try to loosen it. We're having some success, but the screw is sadly rounding right across. Well, maybe we're not having as much success as I thought, and we're just turning this here. The screw's not wanting to come loose. Well, that sucks. All right, well, what we're going to do is that we're probably going to have to probably grind that head off, and then this plate will come off. There should be enough exposed bolt that I can get a hold of it, and yep, that's still warm, and then do it that way. We may be in the very same boat with this one here too, but at any rate, we can at least move on to doing this, and you can see how this works. So let's do that. I have a little dish here for small parts and pieces. Set that in there. Gonna kick on our shop vac. Gonna get noisy. the gauge here, you can see that we're pulling about 1 inch of water column, negative pressure, which is what we want to see. And then we'll just start kind of blasting this off. So you can see it takes it off pretty nice. Flash bead is a pretty gentle way of removing rust and making things look better. And the other thing too is that when you're done with this, it'll be ready for plating right off the bat because it removes all the oil and grease. But of course you got to run an air compressor, which there's a pretty good sized one in the back here that's running. So that's how it is. But this is the part where we're probably going to jump away because y'all don't need to see and listen to all this mess. We just kind of get to see the finished product that's going to be put into the plating bath. So we'll see you here in just a second. Well, I know we talked about jump cuts, so here's jump cut number 1. This is kind of what we've been doing here. I've cleaned this up quite a lot, so it looks really pretty good. There's still maybe a little bit of spots I need to kind of maybe shoot a little bit, but all the terrible rust and everything is all gone, so that's great. Next is this, and hey, we got it loose without destroying the screw. I might need to beat this a little bit flat. I got a little bit of heat deformation there, but that's okay. That's definitely repairable. And what I ended up having to do is, here's the screw. No, it's this one here. I had to cut that slot a lot deeper. And I used my cool little new air tool here with a metal cutting wheel on it to cut that slot in there deeper. And boy, it came right out. So that was great. Didn't need to do anything crazy like easy outs or drills or anything. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to throw this in the blast cabinet. And so you can kind of see how it works. Yeah, you can kind of see on there. So the other one with the grate, it's kind of hard to see the rust disappear, but this, you'll definitely be able to see it. So here comes the noise. Happy to say the cyclonic filter separator is working really well. My inches of water column hasn't changed at all, which means my filters aren't plugging, which is great. So, yeah, so we'll go ahead and go to town on this and show you how it works. So yeah, you're just kind of basically erasing all the rust right off of it and just making it look pretty much brand new. It's just like spraying new life onto it. And with it being glass bead, it's not very injurious to the surface. It just kind of takes that rust off. So we're going to take something that is really looking pretty rough, clean it up with this glass bead blast here, and then we'll replate it so it won't rust and the plating won't burn off, especially where it is here. So yeah, and I gotta say that also the modifications that I've made to the blast cabinet have made this really a professional grade blast cabinet. It works very well, and mainly it's the gravity feed with the metering valve to get consistent media feed to this. So it works really well and it works really fast. I'm only using like 50 PSI blast pressure on this right now, and it's doing a heck of a job. And this is glass bead removing some pretty decent rust. And yeah, it's just taking it right off with no worries. So really, really happy how that works. So I think what we'll do from here, next step you'll see will be us setting up the plating tank. So that's what we'll be. Okay, so here we stand again. This is the plating bath all kind of set up. Got it set up for zinc plating. Right now I'm just kind of like pumping some zinc ions into it here. It is a weird color. It was totally clear the last time I used it. It's turned brown. I've used it actually since then, and it has done totally fine. I haven't had any problems with it, even though the color is weird. So I don't know. Someone smarter than me will probably tell me what's happened, but as far as I can tell, it doesn't impact the ability for it to give a nice plating job. So with that, we're going to go over here to the blast cabinet and pick up our parts and pieces. So I've gone ahead and finished this off, and then I also did the collar because it needs to get replated. And then of course we've got the frame here, which is sort of kind of done okay, but not great, but it's gonna get a lot of abuse from the flame, so I just wanted to get some of it kind of taken care of. I probably could have done a better job. I'm hoping it'll all fit in here. This is pretty deep for what it does, but I don't know if this will be deep enough. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna essentially take this and string it up here with some copper wire and then drop it in the soup and see how it goes. Yeah, so that will be, hopefully I'll probably have to, I'm trying to think how I get good conductivity with this. Probably just the fact that it's gonna get looped through here will be enough. And is this a perfect job? No, it is not a perfect job. And but I'm not letting perfection be the enemy of good. So we're just gonna do what we've done here so far and hope that this is enough to make things work. So that's kind of that. I'm gonna turn off the output on this for right now because we got to figure out exactly how we're gonna hang this in here. It just fits in there just fine, so that's great. We'll get it suspended here and then twist this around so it won't go anywhere. And then we're going to have to make this spin so it will sit straight. It probably won't. Of course, probably should be wearing gloves for this, but you know, zinc isn't really a terrible thing to get on you, so I'm not super concerned about this. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give this like a couple of turns like this so I can give it some chance to stay straight. There we go. And then I can kind of like angle this to try to keep the distance between these electrodes as constant as possible. So what we want to do is that negative goes to the thing you want to plate. I'm going to had my fan on here earlier. We're going to move that aside. Negative goes onto what you want to plate. So we're going to cook that up to here. And then I got to get a jumper lead to go from this one here over to this one here, so both of these get the power. There we go. And I don't know what level. Well, it's just really close to the top, isn't it? What power level we're going to get here, but we'll turn this down and then we'll just kind of see what happens. So I'm going to crank up the voltage here. I've already seen bubbles coming off of the plate, so that's great. That's showing it's doing some stuff. I probably should end up around doing this so y'all can see it. I want to get like probably about 2 volts to it or so. We're gonna use the fine here to do that, and yeah, we can see we're frothing away quite vigorously. So yeah, that looks pretty good. So definitely we got good electrical conductivity to it, and then we'll be in good shape. So this is just gonna kind of sit here for a while. I'm looking at the amps on this. That's really high, so I'm gonna back that down to maybe like 2 amps. I probably should have done some calculations on this. Let's see. 1.5 amps. That's probably good. That looks to be good. Now I know there's a lot of people out there who's like, well, don't you know there's like a certain number of amps per square foot? Yeah, there is. I didn't really do any of that math, and I probably should have, but I haven't. So here we are, and that's it. So yeah, for my support here, I just used a piece of rebar. It was really rusty, so I just threw it in the old cabinet, blasted all the rust off of it, and now we got a nice clean piece of metal, more or less, to go over the top of everything. So so yeah, that's kind of where this is. We're gonna let this sit here and bubble away for a while. Like I said, we've got a couple other pieces in there. We got this piece, and there's actually one more. It's the burner, the top of the burner, and it was really kind of cruddy, and it could use a little bit of TLC, so I blasted that completely clean, and that'll be the next one to go in there. I also have a 242C collar that I previously blasted and then coated with oil to keep it from rusting, so that'll probably be other kind of cleanup thing. I've got other collars in here from 500s that have been given to me to experiment with, so some of those have been done. Some of those need a little bit more help. This one probably will. So while the plating bath is out, there's probably gonna be a lot of plating going on, and we'll get all this stuff done. But again, like I said, this video is gonna be a little different. We're not gonna sit here and watch the whole process. We're gonna set it up, let it run. Y'all gonna come back and get to see the results. So we'll see you in just like. Okay, so this is what it kind of looks like after it comes out of here. And a very, very dry looking, not shiny or anything else like that. But you spend a little time with a wire wheel on that and the shine will come right up. I really thought that this was my fine wire wheel, and it's not, because obviously that is really working it hard. Yeah, so we'll show you a little bit here with the steel wool instead of the wire wheel. Yeah, I had to find one here somewhere. I don't know what happened to it. But anyway, as you work it with this, you can see that shine will come, it'll come right up. Obviously, we can't do much about the beating and banging that has taken over the years, but we certainly will be able to bring this back to a shiny appearance. Maybe a little bit pitted still because it was pretty rusty, but this still will come back pretty good. So we'll continue on. There's more pieces to plate, and we'll go from there. So yeah, we'll do that next. Okay, well, as you can see, we've got a bunch of plated and shiny parts here. I did actually go in here and do a ham-handed job of welding this in here so it will not come apart. It's not pretty, but it's also not going to go anywhere. The plating job turned out really nice. Let's see, the next is the frame stand. That came out really, really good. I actually happen to have another one in the soup here going away right now. And set that over there. This is the top of the burner. It was very rusty and pitted. You can still see the pitting on it, but at least it's protected and it's not going to rust any further. But also that turned out very nice. And of course that base that we were looking at, that was so terribly rusty and awful looking, and well, I mean, it's not rusty anymore. It's still kind of awful looking, but it's a lot shinier. You can still see that pitting that's on here, but again, with that zinc on there, it's not going to rust any further. The last thing is kind of why I'm doing this bit. Well, actually, no. Let's show you this here first. These were the two screws that held it on, and they were very rusty, so I completely sandblasted them and then replated them so they look like absolutely brand new screws. They looked for all the world like this screw right here, right? So very rusty and nasty. They look just like that, but after the sandblaster and the plating, they look new. And then this is kind of the reason why this video is going to end for this week. This is the burner. So I took the burner out. We all remember how rusty and crusty it was. You wouldn't even want to pick it up because it just gets you dirty. So that's all been sandblasted out. It's been plated, polished out. Well, not really polished out. You got to hit it with the wire wheel. Otherwise, it comes out looking very dull. And once you hit the wire wheel, it shines right up. This right here is the problem. And you'll see that I was able to get this off, but of course I left part of the screw in there, and the other part of the screw is here, so it broke off inside. So that kind of puts the brakes on this. I need to go get an easy out. I need to center punch this and drill it and get the easy out in there, and see what we can do. We'll just see. I mean, I tried a lot to get that out of there. I tried, and I thought I actually had it. I didn't realize that there was the screw that had just given up. But man, I put heat on there. I was using a propane torch and MAP gas to get this thing as hot as I possibly could to get it to break loose, and it just refused to do so. We didn't have the luck like we did with the ones on the bottom side. Anyway, that is it for this week's installment of this. You'll have to come back in another week or so when I get the rest of this together and we can finish this one up. But that's where we're at. I hope you enjoyed looking at some of the plating and how you can take stuff from looking really pretty darn terrible to looking actually not half bad. I mean, it's worn, but you know what? It's not going to rust, and it doesn't look like paint. I really don't like the whole spray bombing effect. Being able to plate these back like they were is really nice. That's it. Y'all have a good rest of your week. And until the next time, keep them lit.